Our today's topic is describe the features and uses of books of prime entry. Today we will focus on the formats of books of prime entry and how to put entries in journals. And in another section, in another video, we will be discussing capital and revenue. Okay, so describe the features and uses of books of prime entry. Books of prime entry, as we had discussed in our previous lecture as well. Here we are going to discuss it once again as a recap. Sales, day book and their purpose, purchases day book, its purpose, and all these books of prime entry and their main reason, main uses and main purposes. Sales day book is used to record credit sales only. Purchases day book is used to record credit purchases. Sales return day book is used to record returns of goods sold on credit. It's also known as return inward day book. Purchases return day book, that is also known as return outward day book, and it is used to record all type of returns of goods bought on credit. Then there is another major important book of prime entry, that is cash book, which is used to record all types of cash and bank transactions. As we know that there are two types of main transactions, two types of transactions, credit transactions and cash transactions. We can see credit sales are recorded in sales day book, credit purchases are recorded in purchases day book. So cash sales and cash purchases will be recorded in cash book, and other all incomes and expenses, those are paid in form of cash or through the bank, means they are direct paid, they are used to record in cash book. And cash book, there is another important feature of cash book, that it is a book of prime entry, and at the same time this is a book of original entry, like because all kind of entries regarding cash transactions, they are recorded in cash book. And on the other side, cash book is a book of double entry, because it is used to record complete T account balances of cash and bank account, like all debit and credit side entries of cash account and bank account are recorded in cash book. There is another part of this, is a sub cash book, it is part of the cash book, and it is a sub cash book, that is a petty cash book. It is used to record all small cash transactions, any small expenses. These expenses could be regarding any routine activity, day-to-day activity which is frequent and smaller or minor in nature, like it could be some delivery expense, it could be some stationery expense, or it could be some cafe expense. Then there comes another most important book of prime entry, that is called the journal. Any entry, any transaction that cannot be linked to these 5 books of prime entry: sales day book, purchases day book, sales day book, sales returns, purchases returns, or cash book. Any entry that is not to be categorized in these books, that could be entered in journal. And what kind of entries it could be? It could be any entry regarding capital, it could be drawings, or it could be any income or expense that is on credit, could not be recorded in cash book, would be recorded in the journal. So this is a quick recap of our previous topic and our topic that we are going to study it in details further. So here are these major sales day book and their main uses, and these are their features. If we move on to next slide, it shows us the format of day book and journals, and in the following pages, in the following slides, we will be looking at different formats of all these different books. And this first format is of cash book. Cash book is a book of prime entry, and at the same time it's a book of journal, a book of double entry as well, because we can see that it records all debit and credit entries of cash and bank in a same book. That's why it is a book of double entry. And because these transactions are recorded for the first time in the cash book, any cash transaction, that's why these are called. This is cash book is also known as book of prime entry. So we can see its format. There is a main, this T here. We can see it is prepared on the format of T account. Like this is a main T here, and the left side is debit side, the right side is credit side. On the debit side, we can see the same number of columns are drawn as which are drawn on the credit side. And what are the main particulars which are being recorded here? First column shows the date. Date is very important, and we can see in all the formats, in the following formats which we are going to discuss, you will observe the main thing that all these formats have the basic elements, like they all will be having date, particulars, some reference columns, and then there will be amount column. So this is the common feature of all formats, and but they are slightly different from each other, so we can find those differences as well. Like here, cash book has actually three types. It could be single column, it could be double column, it could be three column. And the book which we see here, that is double column cash book. And you can get confused that we can see here multiple columns. Why it is called double column? Actually, double column, triple column, single column, these divisions are on the basis of amount columns. Here we can see there are only two amount columns, cash column and bank column. One set on the debit side and one set of cash and bank on the credit side. So it is called double column cash book. There is another format of triple column cash book, three column cash book. There will be another amount column that will be describing or showing the values of discounts. So far we can see that this is a format of cash book. It has debit side, it has credit side. The same number of columns on the debit side, same number of columns on the credit side. Date column, particulars, that is used to record all details. Then we can see here two smaller columns which are used to give reference of the source document. As we have studied, the source documents are used to put entries in books of prime entry. So source book, whichever source document is used, their reference number will be written here. So the same type of format we can see on the other side. And at the end we can see there are balances. Balance means difference of both of the sides of account. So difference of both sides of account is given here. There are two amount columns, cash column and bank column, so there are two differences there. And we can see 130,000, 111,000, same 130,000, 111,000. These are the totals. These are totals, and then we can see there is a balance column. This is the format of cash book. Now we will look at the next format. Yes, we can see here two formats. As we have studied, there are 6 books of prime entry. Cash book, its format we have seen. Then there are major 4 day books: purchases day book, sales day book, purchases return, sales returns. So here we can see 2 books which are purchases day book and purchases returns day book, also known as purchases returns journal. So what is common in these two? These both of the day books have the same format: date column, date column, particulars, particulars. Then, as I told you, there will be certain columns for giving references of the source documents. The same is here. There is single amount column there. We can see here a single amount column here in purchases journal, in purchases returns journal. So single columns, because these books are recording just one type of entry: credit sales only, and credit purchases only, and credit purchases returns only. So that's why there is single column. But we had observed in cash book there were dual amount column. That's why cash book is also known as book of double entry, but these are originally books of prime entry, and they are only books of prime entry because there is single amount column, and which is used to record purchases. And which kind of purchases? Cash, no, credit purchases only. Why not cash purchases? Because cash purchases are recorded in cash book. And here we can see purchases. Once, if in a business there are purchases, there would be definitely certain returns as well, purchases returns. Like if customer is not satisfied with the amount, with the quantity of the products delivered, with the quality of the products delivered, or it is not matching up with the order they had placed, so they would be asking, or they would be putting up a request to the supplier to return their box. So here we can see purchases day book, and which detail will be given in the particular column. All these are suppliers, because purchases are belonging to suppliers. So goods are purchased from Super Cola, goods are purchased from John's Farm, goods are purchased from Mrs. Smith's Bakeries, etc. So these are different suppliers, and the amount purchased from those are given here, and here at the end we can see its total. And what about these? These are reference columns, which are showing different references from the different source documents. And in the other purchases day book, we can see here, because goods are purchased from the supplier, and once if it is found that goods are to be returned, then definitely those will be returned to the suppliers back. So suppliers whom these goods are returned, on which date those are returned here. Then there comes ledger folio, and there is credit note. Credit note is the basic source document we have studied about. Like credit note is used when goods are to be returned, and it will be issued by the supplier. Once supplier has accepted it, then entry will be recorded in purchase return day book. Supplier A has been returned goods costing 900 on 1st September. Then the same way on September 9, September 25, September 30th, there are multiple returns made to different suppliers. So we can find that there is a similar kind of format of purchases day book and purchases returns day book. And the same thing we will find in sales day book and sales return day book. Similar format: date column, amount, particulars column, details column, certain columns for references, and then last one there will be detail amount column. So here are two more books, sales day book and sales return day book. But what is the difference? As sales are made to the customers, so customers name will be recorded in details, otherwise there will be date as it is. Then there will be invoice number, because invoice, why invoice? Invoice represents credit transaction, so that's why invoice will be used to record the reference of sales. So sales day book is used to record all sales made to the different customers, and their gross amount is given here. So there is total amount of 1200 that is made. Okay, then we can see another book that is again on the same format, date column. In purchases returns day book we had found suppliers. Here in sales return day book we find here customers, and all customers names are given whom we have returned, found the goods returned from, so their amounts are given. So there is the same format, single amount column, columns for references, then details column, and then date column. Date, details, reference columns, and then there is amount column. This is N for now.